When Mario Kart was first getting started, there were obviously some limitations. The technology of the Super Nintendo, Nintendo 64, and especially the Game Boy Advance meant that the first three Mario Kart games didn't really have the power to go all out. That's not to say they weren't good or didn't take full advantage of the system they were on, they just didn't give that crazy of an experience. But that all changed with Mario Kart Double Dash, released for the GameCube in 2003. This is the game when Mario Kart really started to go wild, and to this day, Double Dash remains as the most unique entry in the series. 2 players in one kart, special items specific to each character, as well as some of the most insane tracks in the whole franchise. So today, I'm gonna go ahead and rank not only the race tracks, but the battle tracks as well. Hopefully this list will be a little more interesting than my past rankings because of how much variety the courses have. So without further ado, let's go! 16. Sherbetland. Here we have the only track in the game that is straight up not fun. Some snow levels can be enjoyable, but this one is just miserable. You race on a bunch of snow and ice, so everything is very slippery, which doesn't translate well with this game's already slippery controls. And to add to the chaos, there's a bunch of ice skating shy guys, as well as these goddamn freezies that are a huge pain in the ass to avoid. This track would be more tolerable if the controls were less touchy, but as it is, it's just bad. 15. Luigi Circuit. It's your usual beginner track, but with a little more Luigi-ness to it. You've got some dash panels, a couple wide turns, a chain chomp, all things we've seen before, but the coolest part is that depending on how fast you're going, there's a chance you could come face to face with oncoming traffic. It makes sense why this track is basic, but I still have fun with it, and it's way more enjoyable than Sherbetland. 14. Peach Beach. Of course Peach has her own beach, because why wouldn't she, right? This beach definitely gives off Super Mario Sunshine vibes. That's probably due to the central area being based off Delfino Plaza, and the presence of cataquacks roaming around the beach. You definitely don't want to get hit by one of these guys. They can mess you up big time. The water level also rises and falls as the race goes on, which adds some strategy on what the fastest route will be. This is similar to Luigi Circuit in terms of having a very basic design, but it's just pleasant to drive through. 13. Mario Circuit. Imagine Luigi Circuit, but a little bit better. You've still got some wavy turns and a big chain chomp lunging out, but now there's a bunch of piranha plants that'll try to bite you, and you've also got this section with a bunch of bumps and Goombas waddling around. I also think the track visually looks more interesting than Luigi Circuit. You've got better details and Peach's castle in the center. 12. Dry Desert. I've expressed my dislike for desert levels before, but this one is actually okay. What I like about this one is how many obstacles you'll encounter that really fit the desert theme. You'll avoid pokies, this huge tornado, and this giant sinkhole with a massive piranha plant hidden inside. Without those enemies, this track would be incredibly forgettable with its bland visuals and boring design. 11. Mushroom Bridge. You drive on a street in the middle of the day, so as you might expect, there's a ton of cars driving around, and they can be a bigger pain in the ass to avoid than you may think. There's also a few alternate routes you can take, such as driving up the side of the bridge, and can I just say, the music for this course frickin' slaps. It truly sounds like business is getting done, which is exactly the kind of feeling you want out of a track like this. 10. Mushroom City. It's the same idea as Mushroom Bridge, but it takes place at night. There's also a few more splitting paths, and since the road is a lot thinner, it can be harder to avoid the moving cars. The best way I can sum up this track is that it's a cooler version of Mushroom Bridge, and that's about it. 9. Dino Jungle. People love dinosaurs, so why not make a course based all around them? The first part of the track is pretty simple with a few trees and this dino trying to stomp on you. The second part is more interesting since you have multiple splitting paths and a massive cave with geysers spewing out water, and the final section lets you see the big dino's head and drive down this bumpy road to the end. Personally, I think this track could have been more creative with its theme, but it still makes for a solid race. 8. Baby Park. You may be wondering how a track shaped like an oval is this high on the list, but the amount of craziness that happens while racing here is like no other. With how small the track is, all the racers are rubbing up against each other, and then you have all the items flying around like Bowser shells and giant bananas, which adds even more chaos. Combine that with how you have to deal with 7 laps of this crap, and you've got one of the most exhilarating tracks of all time. In fact, now we're getting into the truly great courses. 7. Yoshi Circuit. Finally, I've always wondered what it's like to drive on Yoshi. It's hard to believe that Nintendo got something like this to work, but I'm not complaining. Because the track is laid out like this, the road is very wavy, allowing for many places to do drifts. I also like how there's a few sneaky shortcuts here and there, and you'll occasionally have to deal with obstacles like these piranha plants. I'll admit the track is a bit flat compared to others, but who cares? You're driving on Yoshi. 6. Waluigi Stadium. To this day, this is still one of the best stadium tracks in the series. It honestly feels like you're racing through a monster truck arena with the amount of bumps and ramps, as well as this awesome billboard of you racing. There's also some cool Mario obstacles like these spinning bars of fire, and some giant piranha plants moving in and out of pipes. The entire stadium feeling is nailed perfectly. Waluigi really knows how to craft amazing races. 5. Rainbow Road. If you haven't mastered Double Dash's controls yet, this track is gonna force you to learn, cause it does not mess around. There's a ton of dash panels scattered everywhere, the turns are insanely sharp and even take you through a few corkscrews, and then you've got this awesome moment where you get shot up this rainbow tunnel and ride back down to the start. I also love the visual details like Mario items floating around in the sky, and if you look below the track, you can see Mushroom City, which is an awesome detail. 4. Daisy Cruiser. I've never been on a cruise ship myself, but if it's anything like this one, I should definitely try it at some point. There's a deck with a swimming pool, a giant dining room where tables slide all over the place, and you can even fall down to the hangar of the ship and shoot back up to the front. The track replicates a cruise ship perfectly. It may not be at the top of the list, but it might just be the most memorable track from Double Dash. It is so amazing. 3. Wario Coliseum. Combine go-karts with a cage match, and you've got Wario Coliseum. First thing to point out is the length. This track is so freaking long. So long that there's only 2 laps instead of the usual 3. But the amount of action that happens within those 2 laps is nothing but craziness. The track twists and turns however the hell it pleases, there's several places to gain speed or make epic jumps, and there's not that many guardrails to keep you on track. This course is pure zany goodness, and I wouldn't have it any other way. 2. Bowser's Castle. Out of all the Bowser Castle tracks I've played throughout this series, this is the only one that's provoked a sense of fear in me. The whole scene is set perfectly with the atmosphere, creepy music, and overall unsettling tone. And on top of that, each section of the track has something interesting going on, with thwomps crashing onto the floor, fireballs hopping out of this pit of lava, and then you've got this giant Bowser statue shooting fire down the track, and it looks so cool. This isn't my favorite Bowser Castle, but it's still an excellent track. However, it's not quite as good as 1. DK Mountain. Donkey Kong always delivers when it comes to Mario Kart tracks, but DK Mountain is on a whole nother level. You start by getting shot up to the top of this volcano, and then you start heading back towards the bottom with tons of boulders rolling down trying to crush you. And then you have these sections with a giant crack down the middle, and then you've got this wavy bridge, which is the perfect spot to place down an item. It's hard to find another track at the same level of epicness as DK Mountain. It is such a fantastic course and is the best track from Mario Kart Double Dash. And along with the racetracks, we have some of the best battle maps in the entire series, so let's rank those real quick as well. 6. Cookie Land. Despite being at the bottom, this map is still kind of fun. The layout is shaped like a circle, and there's a couple walls to drive around. There's nothing really wrong with this map, it's just pretty boring. 5. Block City. While not as cool as Block Fort, there's still a lot of enjoyment to be had. All this map boils down to is a bunch of squares and narrow paths, but sometimes there's nothing wrong with simplicity. 4. Nintendo GameCube. You literally drive on top of a GameCube. It may look lame, but the open space means there's plenty of room to drive around, as well as plenty of spots to place items, adding to the intensity. 3. Tilt-A-Kart. You drive on an 8-bit Mario that'll tilt in whatever direction the racers are on. This is also the only map where it's possible to completely fall off the stage, so you want to be careful of that too. 2. Luigi's Mansion. Who knew that duking it out in a mansion could be so fun? There's a bunch of paths to take, multiple levels to drive on, and just the fact that it's based on Luigi's Mansion is enough for me to love it. 1. Pipe Plaza. Out of all the battle maps to come from Double Dash, this one easily holds up the best. The map is this perfect blend of having plenty of space to roam while also having a few levels to drive on, and the pipes on the side will send you to a random spot each time, adding even more variety than you may expect. I didn't grow up with Mario Kart Double Dash, but I can't deny that this is one of the coolest games in the series, and I love replaying it every once in a while. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, then make sure to give it a like, and let me know down in the comments what your favorite track is from this game. Also, make sure to subscribe to my channel with notifications on, so you'll know when I post more videos like this. Have a great day, stay safe out there, and I will see you in the next one.